guys, welcome back to my channel. We are taking it back with this video, and also I'm filming on a brand new camera and I'm not very good with change. I have like an emotional attachment to my Canon G7X, but I really do feel as though this potentially could be better quality. It's also easier for me to film on. I've basically stolen my dad's DJI, what is it even called? This little tiny handheld vlogging camera. My dad bought one for himself and I kind of wanted to try it out because I am thinking about upgrading, so do let me know what you think. Obviously, the only real difference that I can see when I'm filming is two things. I'm probably looking down a little bit because the screen is below, and also it's a wider angle, which I actually don't think is a bad thing. But for those of you that do not care about the camera, I'm here with a Q&A video today. I thought we'd have a catch up. I've been away for 3 months of this year, and I feel like we've not had a chat like this in that whole time. There are a few things to update you on, and I just like to check in and do one of these every couple of months because, to be honest, because I enjoy watching other people do this. So I asked on Instagram and we're just gonna get straight into it. First one that I was getting a lot is, how are you? What are you up to? What's next? That kind of thing. So feels like a good place to start. I am currently really good. I feel like it's been a whirlwind start to 2025. To be honest, I feel like this is probably the fastest trip I've ever been on in terms of how quickly it's passed. We were away for about like 11 weeks, so just a bit under 3 months, and it feels like I just blinked and missed it. And I don't know if that's just because we were moving around a lot. It's probably the fastest paced travel trip we've ever done. Don't get me wrong, I'm really grateful and glad to have missed the UK winter, but in the next breath, I literally don't know where that time went. But yeah, I had a really amazing time. If you haven't seen the series of vlogs, maybe travel vlogs are not your cup of tea. Basically, I spent 3 months in South America and then the end of that trip in Australia. I'm not going to rehash it because I've spoke about it a lot, but I think if I was to pick a highlight, but yeah, let's do that because a lot of people are also like, what was the best bit? What was the best bit? We'll do a highlight and a low light. For me, my favourite part of the trip that I've been telling everybody, which is so surprising because I think if you'd have asked me before I set off, what's your favourite thing gonna be, I wouldn't have even considered this. But my 3 days that I spent in Patagonia were 3 of the best days of my life. I thought it was just the most beautiful place I've ever been. I would love to go back and do like an extended hiking trip there. Who even am I? Because I am not somebody that loves the cold and I'm not somebody that really loves hiking, but there was just something about this part of our Argentina trip that was just otherworldly. I also do think, and I sound like a stuck record when I say this, but we had a really lovely group of people. That group were just so good and the energy was just unmatched, and I think that that's maybe why that stands out in my head. But yeah, highlight of the whole trip was probably Patagonia. Low light of the whole trip was the violent food poisoning that I got twice. Basically, to give you a rough summary, the day that we left Brazil to fly to Australia, Tom and I both got horrific food poisoning, but we had to board the plane to Oz because we could not reschedule it. I actually called LATAM Airways whilst I was being sick and I was like, could I please reschedule? And they were like, yeah, it's £3,000 to reschedule. And I was like, I'm coming to the airport. So that was not just a low light of this trip, that was one of the worst days of my life. When I look back to it and I think about me in Rio airport literally being sick in the toilet, oh, it's horrible, it's horrible. But I did get through it, and that is now my new reference point for, if I can do that, I can get through anything. And Machu Picchu was a much similar experience, although not quite as bad. Like, I wasn't quite as ill. Crazy times. So here is a question that I was getting a lot, which actually makes sense because I don't think we ever explained it in the vlogs or anything, but loads of people were asking, did Tom quit his job to go to South America? Does Tom work? What's Tom doing about his job? Basically, a lot of questions on that vein. And Tom was in a very fortunate position where the job that he has here in the UK at the moment kind of knew his situation when he took the role, in that he'd been traveling and that he planned to go traveling again. So they very kindly gave him unpaid leave because it worked really well for both of them. The job that he currently does is quite seasonal, and because it fell in the off season, which was kind of deliberate, like we planned that so that worked, they were happy for him to take the time off not paid. He obviously was happy to take the time and travel, and it was just really good because they were super flexible, but he'd kind of outlined that initial plan when he took the jobs. Yeah, I think it just helps that it's a super small company. It was kind of doing them both a favour, really. That is the setup there, but I do understand why that kind of just looked like, is Tom unemployed? Like, what does he do? If you don't know, if you're new around here, I don't know how often I really say it. Tom is a graphic designer, so he does graphic design and product design, web design, that kind of thing. Were there any countries that you visited on this trip that you didn't like? Good question. No. I think it takes a lot for me to be like, I don't like this place. I think for me, potentially, if I had to pick, my least favourite country that we visited would probably be Peru, just because we were so unwell. And I think the thing with Peru is like all of the excursions are 3 a.m. get-ups, 4 a.m. get-ups, 5 a.m. get-ups back to back, and because we were traveling on quite a tight time constraint, we didn't have a lot of time for like maneuvering that. So if we wanted to do everything, we just had to keep getting up at 3 a.m, which would have probably been okay if we weren't super unwell. Like I was surviving, not thriving, and then when the alarm goes off at like 2:50, which by the way, that's not the morning, that's still the night, very much so. It was just a lot. Like I felt like I was really struggling through it rather than enjoying it, and I'm really sad about that because I think Peru as a country's got this crazy culture, this incredible landscape, and the people are amazing, but personally my time there was just like, whoa, this is a lot. So I guess my advice and my top tip there would be to allow yourself longer. Like 2 weeks in Peru is probably not enough to see the entire country. Will you be reuniting with Eve, Liv, Lizzie, New soon? It's so nice that you're still close with them. I love that you guys know my friends. Yes, I have actually seen Liv during this gap that I've had where I'm at home, and then we do have plans for the summer. The issue with us as a friend group is that, to be fair, all of the other girls live in London and I do not live in London, but also we're all really busy with work, and Liv works abroad a lot. So I think anybody that's in their 20s probably will have experienced this, but when you've got a group of like 4 or 5 of you and you're all trying to navigate being 25, building a career, maybe you're buying a house, maybe you're getting into a new relationship, all of those things on top of like a friendship group, especially one that doesn't live nearby, it's really difficult to like regularly see everybody. And sometimes we'll go out and there'll be 3 of us, or there'll be 4 of them and I'm not there. It's like, you've just got to juggle it, you've just got to balance it. And I think one thing that I'm really grateful for, especially with those girls, is that when we do see each other, it's like we've just slotted right back into the last time that we were together. Like it's like no time has passed, and yeah, it is so special that I made such good friends from doing this job. Would you ever visit Canada or do a backpacking trip there? You know what? Canada is somewhere I've just never properly looked into because I know that it will be an expensive trip, and I also know that it's a bloody massive country. So I just think that right now it's not on the cards, but I absolutely would love to visit one day. I think that the like west coast of Canada and like Banff, wow. All the beautiful mountains basically look super gorgeous. I don't know anybody that has been that hasn't loved it, so that's like obviously a good sign. It's not in the planning process. There are places that I do want to go, but Canada is a little bit further down the list. Do you think that traveling brings you and Tom closer, especially being ill so much together? Real. This is just turning into a big illness chat, but yeah, I think traveling really does bring Tom and I closer. I also think that we are very lucky that we share like the exact same travel style. We do not struggle to travel together at all, which I'm so grateful for, because I do know a lot of people where, and it's not even a bad thing, but traveling with them would be more challenging. I think if you're a different kind of person, if you're a type A or a type B, whatever, I think it could be a little bit of a challenge. It could be difficult. Personally, Tom and I just like thrive in that environment, and yeah, it's kind of just when everything is going best because it's just the 2 of us, but we're constantly in like a changing environment, which I love. And yeah, I guess being all together, that really did bring us closer. I'm not gonna lie. We're very comfortable around each other, probably too comfortable, but okay, I love this. Somebody said, what advice would you give to yourself from 5 years ago during the lockdown? Why did I just struggle to read that? This is a good one because I feel as though I really catastrophized during the lockdowns. It is genuinely a time that I just don't look back on or think about because it sends me into some kind of like fight or flight, because I know that I was just so unhappy. And that sounds silly to say because I don't even really have a reason to be. I mean, yeah, there was like a global pandemic, so I guess that is the reason. I work from home anyway, nothing massively shifted in my life. I just felt like so uncertain about the future, and it had just sent me into this massive existential dread that I just could not get out of. I just could not shift that feeling. Even thinking about it now makes me just like, oh, I just can't, I couldn't do that again. Like my mental health was not good. It was not good. I think I would probably just be giving myself a hug and being like, you know, there is an end. Like, it does end, and everything that you think you want to do, you're going to do that and so much more. And I think that sometimes I'll be like just living my life, going about my day. Like, I had this when I was just in Australia. So I was in Melbourne with my boyfriend, and I was just having this moment of being like, I can't believe that I'm back here, and so much has happened in between that time during COVID and now that me wouldn't even believe it. And I'm so grateful for that. I don't think I really would have traveled like this, and I don't think I would have traveled with Tom like this if those lockdowns hadn't happened. So you just don't know, do you? I think the course of the way that it shifted everybody's lives is crazy, and I talk about this a lot with my friends, but like the butterfly effect and the knock-on effect of that happening to everybody, the trajectory of all of our lives are different, and that's just something that's crazy to me. It's crazy to me, but I don't think about it too much because again it sends me into an existential crisis. So I would tell her, there's an end in sight, chin up, you've got this, give her a little hug. Yeah. This is a question I get surprisingly often. Is there anywhere that you've traveled to that you'd specifically recommend for a honeymoon? Yes. And it's actually not the Maldives. I personally think if I was to go back to anywhere that I'd visited because I thought it was more of like a wedding destination, I would probably say Fiji, which I am aware is not really very ideal because of how far away Fiji is. Like Fiji and also Hawaii. I mean, I think Hawaii is a stunning part of the world, but I think if I was gonna just pick one, I would genuinely say specifically the Yasawa Islands in Fiji. I've never been anywhere like it. If you're looking for like the ultimate beachy relaxation where everything is right there, you don't need to do anything, you don't need to leave, you don't need to like, I don't know, we just don't need to do anything. Everything's at the hotel. I mean, the Maldives are a honeymoon destination. That's kind of the setup. But personally for me, I preferred Fiji, I think. This is a good question that I kind of want to unpack for a different reason. Somebody said, how do you plan on traveling like this when you have children? When I have children, it is not a guarantee. Do you know what I mean? I feel like the when, and I don't mean this in a mean way. I think the person who's asked this has just asked that because that's the normal thing to presume that people are gonna do. I don't know for certain if I would want kids, and I think that that's a big conversation, a big chat. And I'm not saying that that won't change because I actually hope that it does. I really want to get a bit older and have that like maternal instinct kick in where I'm like, now is the perfect time to start a family. But currently, I just can't imagine feeling like that. I do not have a single part of me that thinks, yeah, maybe I want to be a mum. And it's mad because so many of my friends do have that, but also so many of them don't. So I don't really feel like panicked about it. And obviously I always am speaking to Tom about stuff like this as well. Firstly, I'm only 25, so I'm not worrying about it yet. And secondly, I think if I was lucky enough to be able to just have kids like that, I wouldn't want to be doing that until I'm a bit older. Maybe I'll be reassessing this the closer I get to 30 or after 30. But I don't know, man, I just feel as though I'm so not at that point in my life that I can't really give much brain power to it. Like, I feel as though there's so much that I still want to do for me that I haven't done yet. I mean, I'm literally still living at home, firstly, but it would be a little bit selfish of me to have a baby right now because I'm not in a position where I'm like willing to give all of that up. Is this mean? Does this make me sound like an awful person? I don't really know. I feel as though the presumption that all girls want to have a baby is kind of crazy and something I thought was a bit of a myth until I hit about 24, 25 and people started asking me on a serious level, are you and Tom gonna have kids? And I was like, whoa. And I think because we've been in a relationship since we were very young, it kind of speeds that up in people's minds because they're like, oh, they've been together forever, they must want a baby. And I just think, I don't love the assumptions. Tom and I are not in a position to have a kid. Do we have a house? I don't know. It's a big old chat, but it is an important one, and I think it's important to respect that as well. It's always met with a little bit of judgment when I tell people like, I'm not really sure if I want to have a baby. And I don't really know why that is, because I really do kind of just believe that it's your choice. Not really anything to do with anybody else. Nobody else is going to be birthing it, just me. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. Do let me know in the comments if you feel the same, if you feel different. I personally do not mind at all. Like, it doesn't offend me if people disagree. And I'm also so happy for my friends that do really want to start a family. I think that that's so exciting. It must be such an exciting chapter to be about to start. And I do think that one day I'll probably be there. I'm just not there yet. But to answer the question, do you plan to travel like this when you have kids? I don't. That's kind of why I'm doing all of this traveling now, because I am not taking a baby around Southeast Asia in a backpack. Wait, no, not the baby in the backpack. See, this is why I couldn't be a mum. Where am I putting it? The backpack? You know, it wouldn't fit this lifestyle. And I'm sure that some people make it work. And I see like van life influencers that have kids and stuff like that. Personally, I don't think that would be for me. I can't imagine anything worse than like regularly flying long haul flights with a 2-year-old. I would lose my mind. But again, maybe that is different if it is your own 2-year-old. You see what I mean? You see the dilemma I'm having here? I just feel as though right now it's not even on my horizons, and I know that as a woman, as a girl, I don't have the privilege of just thinking like that forever. Like, it's something I'm gonna have to think about at some point in the not too distant future, but not yet. Can you do more UK or Europe based travel, maybe with Harry or Tom or your dad? Yes, I've actually been planning a few things that I would like to film in the summer, especially with my brother. It's just very difficult because all of those people that you've just listed work, so it's hard to find the time and it's hard to plan it really. And also, people do not want to take annual leave for me to be like, oh my gosh, shall we throw a dart at a map and like go to that location? To be honest, that's completely fair enough. So let me know in the comments, actually. I'd really love your advice. If you enjoy watching like travel challenges, what is your favorite? What would you like to see me do? Is there anything that I've done in the past that you'd like to see me do again, maybe? Or like a different take on a similar video? Do you see content creating as your career for the foreseeable future, or would you maybe want to go into marketing or advertising? I kind of do think that this is going to be my job for the foreseeable future. I do think that everything shifts all the time and it's never constant. I would say that now my job is very different to like 5 years ago, but I also think that I don't mind that. I think over the last year I've shifted the way that I earn money slightly. I think that now, obviously, some of that comes from things like travel, group trips, selling travel guides. There's different income streams coming from different places that like 5 years ago were not a thing, and I'm hoping that it just kind of adapts like that for a little bit longer. I don't really know where I see this career in 10 years time, but I'm kind of just thinking year by year, and as long as that kind of goes roughly right. And yeah, I think in answer to the question, the foreseeable future, definitely. Would I want to work in advertising or marketing? Probably not. I think I would maybe stay within the content creation world, even if I wasn't the one creating the content. I guess that kind of is advertising, actually. But yeah, we'll see. Do you still enjoy going clubbing and partying? I'm gonna go against the grain here, guys, because the clean girl aesthetic says no, you don't enjoy that. It says stay in on a Friday night. Molly May wouldn't do that. But guys, I actually really do. I love going out. I think that I enjoy a boogie. I like going somewhere with good music. I'm not even necessarily out to get really drunk. I just want to go and have like a good time with my friends. So yeah, you can do that in a bar, and I love a bar night out. I love a pub night out, but I'm not against a nightclub if it's the right vibes. There's like a handful of my friends that are still really down for a night out, and I'm happy about that. Do not get me wrong, I would not want to be out on like a Monday night in Prism. Definitely not. Does Prism exist? Did they all close down, or was it just the one in Leeds that shut? That's not really the kind of club I'm talking about. I more mean like, me and my friend Liv went to Swiftageddon 2 weeks ago. That wasn't a nightclub. Technically it was a club. It was a Taylor Swift themed night. All we did all night was dance, sing, scream, have a couple of gin tonics. I do enjoy a party. How do you manage the language barrier in South America? I really enjoyed watching the vlogs. Thank you so much. We didn't. Tom knows very basic Spanish and can get by. I knew gracias. Donde está la biblioteca? I could ask where the library was. Don't know why. So in the Spanish speaking countries, which was all of them apart from Brazil, Tom did like predominantly most of the speaking and the ordering, or Google Translate was our best friend. In Brazil, neither of us spoke a single word of Portuguese, and that was rough because they also spoke very little English, like zero English in Brazil, which completely fair enough. It's not an English speaking country. However, I will say in the Spanish speaking countries, they could understand a little bit of English. So between the broken English, the broken Spanish, it was okay. Brazil was hard. Brazil was constant Google Translate. So I will say, if you're planning a trip to Brazil for a prolonged amount of time, maybe learn some really basic Portuguese, because even asking for like the toilet, like I'm having to type it on my phone. Like yeah. That was quite tricky. What's an unexpected item that people might not think of to take backpacking? Take a separate wash bag that's really big. I don't know if this is unexpected, but I think you're so keen to pack like packing cubes, but when your clothes are dirty, it's so hard to pack that bag if you don't have a wash bag, and then you can kind of just like squash that on the top. Otherwise, you're just squashing loose clothing, or you're putting dirty clothing with your clean clothing. My wash bag is a godsend, and I take it everywhere with me, literally. Also, it stops your suitcase from smelling. If you've got all of your like dirty, sweaty clothes in one place, they're not touching. Okay, another popular one that I'm getting a lot is, where is next for you? So the day that you're watching this, I'm actually heading on such an exciting trip. I can't believe that this is real, but I'm basically going on a brand trip. And I don't think I will have said this online yet because I don't think I will have landed. I think I'll be in the air when this video goes up. But I am heading first to Miami and then to board a cruise to the Bahamas, which is just so silly. This opportunity feels like I've made it up. It feels like I've dreamt that I've got this email and that it's not an actual email sitting in my inbox. I just can't believe this. So basically, Tom and I are going to be in the Bahamas. It's a very short trip. It's literally straight there and back, but it's so exciting. It's for such an exciting opportunity. It's going to be such fun content. I've never done anything like this before, obviously. Kind of already mentioned, but we're boarding a cruise ship and I've never been on a cruise before. I've never been on a cruise ship before. So out of my normal realm of travel content, but I think that'll make it really exciting. That wasn't initially on my yearly plan, but it just kind of ended up working out really well, like date-wise. But then I fly pretty much straight from Miami to my trip in Sri Lanka. So I'm hosting a group trip in Sri Lanka with I'm Here Travels. That is a 2-week trip pretty much. And then I'm heading from Sri Lanka to Thailand to host a group trip in Thailand. Honestly, it's just a crazy couple weeks. That is basically meaning that I'm away from tomorrow for 5 weeks, predominantly in Asia. And then I'm back home again. I have on and off travel plans until like the middle of July, and then I have a free summer, and I think I'm gonna spend the summer here. I just think that the UK summer, if we get a good one, is unmatched. The vibes are so good. Like, I love this country in like July, August. We've had a little teaser taster of that over the last couple of days. I feel like the good weather, the beer garden energy, even though it's actually only 9 degrees, the vibes have been there. The people have been coming out of hibernation and defrosting, and I am so here for that. So I think that a UK summer will be so lovely, and then we're kind of going to assess where we're at, because that's as far as I've planned. So I have 2 questions that have come up a lot that I haven't answered yet, so I'm going to end with them. And the first one is, can you please talk about your emetophobia? Do a little update because of how unwell I've been basically whilst I was traveling. And I got this a lot at the time. I think I've made no secret of the fact that when I was younger I used to have really bad emetophobia. Like, I can't even tell you how much of a problem that was in my day-to-day life. The fear of being sick is such a real thing, and if anybody tells you that it isn't, they are probably just lucky enough to have never experienced it. People just dismiss it, and firstly, I find that really annoying. Secondly, I wish I had a quick fix answer for you guys, because I know, as somebody that's been on the opposite side of it, how frustrating it is when you want advice and you want something that's going to work and nothing does. I would say that I was probably like worst with this when I was in school. I think that basically I was just very anxious anyway, because school was a really anxious environment for me. I did not like school, and that really manifested itself as this emetophobia basically, where I was just very paranoid. I don't really know, not paranoid, just anxious about being sick, about being unwell, about being somewhere where I couldn't control it, or somewhere where I was like far away from home. I actually feel I've done such a 180, and it's been across 10 years. I did not do this quickly. The only thing that genuinely I think has helped me with this, and this is such a double-edged sword, is pushing my comfort zone and doing those things anyway. I think having this job has really helped, because opportunities have come up and things have come up that I would not have done when I was like 15. When I was younger, I'd be like, Molly, you're being silly. Look at this opportunity that you're getting given. Somebody wants to take you down to London and go to a cool event, or somebody's going to pay for you to stay in a really nice hotel and shoot some content for them, and I would be like, sorry, I can't do that. And then I would be like, why? Like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And I think that doing that was like the first step, and that was the first hurdle. And if I could get to London on my own and be okay, then I could maybe go to Paris on my own and be okay. And it was just a gradual thing like that. And I also think part of it is that as I've grown out of being so anxious because I'm not at school, part of that has just kind of ebbed away. I don't really know how to describe it, because I know that it's not helpful. I've had this conversation with people in real life and they're like, oh, that's good for you personally, but I can't learn from that. I wish that there was something I could say has helped, but it's just time and pushing my comfort zone and pushing my boundaries. And to be honest, partially having these things happen to me, like getting food poisoning, I couldn't do anything about it. When you're actually in that moment and you're in like a fight or flight response, your body's instinct is just to like survive. And once you've got through it, on the other side of it, I was like, oh, do you know what? Didn't enjoy it. I survived it. And if it happened again, I'd be a bit more prepared. So I really think that that's all I can really say about that. My want to travel and my desire to see the world and to like explore these places and also to try these foods and to like have that experience is more now than my fear of getting ill. And I think that because I want that so badly, I'm willing to like have that feeling but do it anyway. That's kind of where I'm at with the emetophobia. However, the South America trip was probably the most I've ever been challenged, and there were times, especially in Peru, when I was like so unwell, where I was just like, I actually can't do it. But the point stands that I did get through it. I think one of the only real ways you can get past that is by constantly pushing your comfort zone that little bit, one step at a time kind of thing. And the next question that I've got a lot of that I am saving to last is, what are you doing now? Are you moving back to Australia or are you buying a house? And the answer is neither in the immediate future. And both, hopefully, at some point. I think Tom and I going back to Australia solidified the fact that we might do our second working holiday visa, and we are looking into that. Nothing is set in stone. We don't have a rough outline. We kind of know. Do you know what I mean? I feel like if you're somebody that's in Australia on a working holiday visa, or you're thinking about it, you'll probably know. When you've mentally made your mind up, that's what's next, you know? The buying a house and the moving out questions I get every single time I put a question box up, and guys, I get it. I completely get it. Like, living at home at 25, it's not anybody's dream, but also I feel very fortunate that I have a home that I enjoy coming back to, I can come back to, and it does just work best for me right now. I think because my plan is to be away for a lot of this year, it's still just not the right time to buy a house. And obviously if we do go back to Australia, it's not the right time before that either, because I still am so like, well, I don't want to buy a property and then it be empty for a year. So that's kind of where my head's at, but I'm always looking. I am on Rightmove every single day, just so that like once we do decide that that is our next step, we're pretty much already sorted in terms of we know what we want, we know where we want it, we know where we'd be looking, that kind of thing. I've bought half a house. It's in my office in a massive storage thing. So I have like kitchen appliances and things like that, because obviously one day that is the aim. A lot of people are asking, would your long-term aim be to move to Australia? I honestly don't think so. I think we will potentially move back there for a short amount of time. I don't know how long. The visa would grant us 2 years, which probably it won't be 2 years, but that's how long we could go for. If we wanted to stay any longer than that, it would become much more of a headache. We'd be looking at sponsorships, we'd be looking at how to stay in Australia. It's not as easy as, oh, so are you gonna emigrate there? Like, you can't just move to Australia. It's not as simple as that. I do kind of think that we probably wouldn't be looking into that. I can't say for sure. You don't know what's gonna happen. Tom could end up in a job there that offered him sponsorship, he could love it. Similarly, we could do 3 months and go, this time around it's just not right, it's too expensive, it's not working out, the job's not good, whatever. You don't know until you try, and that is the gamble, that is the risk. I do kind of think our plan is to at some point use a second working holiday and then come back and look at buying a property. In my head, that's where we're at. Tom is very much on the same page as that. I think us going back to Melbourne really solidified that for us. So yeah, I don't want to make any promises because I don't know, but for the foreseeable future, you're predominantly going to be seeing me traveling away, backpacking, or here in between, which is very similar to how I lived last year. I will say I don't want to live like this forever. Obviously, I do really like the idea of us moving in together and moving out, but I also know that right now, for my lifestyle and for our potential upcoming future and financially, it's not the best decision. So yeah, I hope that you understand that. I feel as though some people are always quite shocked by that, but it's just a setup that works best for us right now. And Tom and I are very fortunate. We live literally across the road from each other, which it just feels silly to say, because what are the odds of that? Like, I didn't meet Tom until we went to college and he literally lives like over there, so it's very convenient. If we lived miles apart and it was like, okay, well, I've got to commute to see Tom again, we wouldn't live like this. Like I say, it's just a setup that works well for us, and we're very lucky, we're very fortunate. Both of our parents are super supportive, which is incredible, so incredible. That's everything really. We couldn't do it without that. Yeah, and with that, guys, I am gonna wrap this up. Let me know if you have any other questions or if I haven't answered yours in the comments. I will do my best, but I do feel as though a lot of them are often quite the same. I wish I could come and sit down and give you a huge life update that was like, I've bought a house, I've decided I'm moving to Sydney forever, but I am just one indecisive girly and keep toying with the idea of living in Australia, and it's not a joke anymore. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this Q&A and you're not subscribed, it really does help me out if you can subscribe down below. Leaving a comment and a thumbs up boosts the video and the algorithm as well, which that means so much to me. The easiest way to support my channel if you you do enjoy my content. Oh, also, let me know, what do you think of the camera? What do you think of the audio? Be honest, I really don't mind. I'm not going to be offended. I have my other camera at the side of me, and I'm very happy to go back to the G7X, but I thought it was maybe worth trying something different because this camera quality does look a bit better, and the camera itself is much more travel friendly and transportable. Other than that, I shall see you in my next video, which will be up on my channel on Saturday. Bye guys!